Well, let's continue on our special coverage. Joining me now is TRT World's Soraya Salam. She was outside last night in Istanbul when demonstrators filed the streets near the AK Party headquarters and later near police headquarters. Soraya, you were outside, out in the streets. Give us your account on the events.
Yeah, Ali John, it was really incredible. I left my house around 1 a.m. It was just after the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan had called on the people to take to the streets and show their support for democracy against the coup attempt. And as I left my house, I was walking towards the AK Party headquarters. I was in a part of Istanbul called Eyüp, which is where the AK Party headquarters, the ruling party headquarters, is located. And as I was walking, there was chanting, there were people waving flags, men, women, children that were pouring out on the streets. And as we were walking, more people were leaving their houses, just spilling out on the streets. And they were making their way towards a very iconic street called Vatan Street. Now, that's actually where a former prime minister of Turkey had been hanged after the coup in the 1960s. So they were making their way towards that street, and there were rumors of military vehicles there. People had seen pictures of military vehicles on social media. So they were really seeking a confrontation here with the military. And just in the distance, you could hear the call to prayer being chanted out. And it was interesting because it wasn't the normal time for the call to prayer, but people took it as, hey, everyone wake up if you're asleep and heed the calls of the president and come out on the streets. As we got to Vatan Street, huge crowds, and people then found out that there was not a military vehicle there anymore on that area of the street. So I actually saw people gathering into a bus. Bus drivers were just, offer their services for free. Come on the bus, let's go to the airport. So people were really out there to fearlessly show their disapproval of this coup attempt, and they really wanted to get in the faces of the military.
At one point, I understand you passed a military tank that had been taken over by the people. Let's watch a video clip of that, and then I'm going to come back to you.
Yeah.
On Vatan Street in Istanbul, and there are people on top of a military tank celebrating that they've overtaken this part of Istanbul from the military.
Yeah, only police took over.
The police took over.
Explain to our viewers where this was taken and what you went through.
Yeah, so this was later on. So Vatan Street is quite long. So when we got towards the end of the street, suddenly we saw this military vehicle, but there weren't soldiers on top, there were police officers. People were cheering, they were ecstatic, and apparently the people and the police had overtaken that area from the military. And so there was music playing, and just lots of celebration. But at the same time, Ali John, at that point, people were like, let's go onwards. Let's find another place to have a confrontation. I mean, just to show our presence. And that's when they started making their way towards the police headquarters in Istanbul, and we followed them.
One of the catalysts last night on Friday evening was the call by Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan urging people to go out in the streets using social media. Where were you then?
So at that time, when he had made that call, I was at home. I was watching the FaceTime video that we all know now of the president calling for people to come out on the streets. And right after he had made that announcement is when I made my way into the streets. Now, just to go back, after I passed the military vehicle and people were heading towards the police headquarters, that was when I was actually approached by an officer when I got to the police headquarters. So when I got there, the biggest crowd yet, and if you can follow me for a second, we've talked about leaving from this area of Istanbul where the AK Party headquarters are located, going to this iconic street, Vatan Street, then going to the police headquarters. And when I got there, people were waiting for a military vehicle that they thought was coming. So I was approached by police because people were actually afraid of what I was doing there. I was live streaming on Facebook actually of what was happening. So people were a bit suspicious, and I was approached by police. They eventually let me go, but after that, I heard huge cheers, and it was just after it was announced that Recep Tayyip Erdogan was about to land at Atatürk Airport. A few minutes later, we heard an airplane overhead, and people thought this was Erdogan about to land, and just huge cheers. After that, the crowd started to die down a bit as we got word of the coup attempt being more under control. And I would like to say that on my way home, Alijan, we did pass a hospital, an emergency room, and people were yelling out, "Be positive, A positive," trying to get blood donors. So that was when I knew that this morning we'd hear about the death toll and the toll that it take. But it was truly a night of power for the Turkish people, and they really sent a message that no matter what party they were from, what their political leanings, they believed in democracy, they believed in the will of the people, and they were not going to take a military coup lying down.
A unified voice indeed against these coup plotters. All right, great insight there. Thank you very much, Soraya. I really do appreciate it.